Good evening, everyone. My name is Maureen.
And I am Chris or Christine, doesn't really matter.
And we are Y-ZUP.
Right, so sis, just to ask you, just to break the ice, how's your day been today?
How's my day been? Oh boy. It's been a crazy day.
Really
just running around doing bits and pieces and
Yeah.
sort of getting into my arty stuff as well. You know, my sister's very creative. And I'm doing these, these pictures by diamonds. They're called diamonds. Making pictures with these little diamond things. And I've got a frame. But my sister said to me, Maureen, you know what you need to do with the frame? You need to rub it down with some Brillo and you need to do this. And I'm thinking, I want life easy.
Yeah.
But guess what I did? I started rubbing it down with Brillo. So, so my fingernails were all blue.
Let's have a look.
I managed to get it off. So I did have a shower today before I came out. But, so that's what I was doing. So I was knackered.
Gosh.
But
my day wasn't too bad. Yes. I mean, I was busy like yourself, running raggedy. But I'm here anyway, aren't I?
Yeah, that's good. Brilliant. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, okay.
So we've got an interesting topic for you today as well.
Yes.
And we spoke about last time about why men cry and why they don't cry, and we explored that a bit, and we also listened to some clips of people's comments about that, and one person in particular was a young man called Andrew Tate, and he talked about women being the tearful ones, and he suggested that it was about them manipulating. So we wanted to use that as a springboard for this topic that we're looking at now, which is about manipulation, to explore what does that actually mean, and who are the parties who get involved in that. So come with us and come in. Oh dear.
Come into my parlour. Yes. So the spider to the fly.
So let's explore that some more, shall we? So that's where we're at. So with manipulation, it's quite a meaty subject, and it's going to take a good time to really go through it.
Yes, because there's quite a lot in manipulation, so we can't cover everything today, because it's like Maureen said, it's quite a wide subject, isn't it?
It is a wide subject.
But we've sort of pointed a few things that we want to look at today.
So what we have. So what I'm going to do first of all, I'm just going to give you a few headlines, but those aren't the things we're going to home in on. There's three of those. They call them tactics of manipulation that we're going to home in on and explore, and show you some clips as well. So bear with us. So manipulation. Some of the tactics of manipulation are gaslighting, blame shifting, playing the victim, guilt tripping, love bombing, mirroring, silent treatment, and a word my sister and I went, what? Scratched our head with.
Yes,
was
we had to look it up.
Triangulation.
Yes.
And stonewalling.
Yeah.
So we're not going to define all those, because that will be the next few weeks' topic of conversation, and then we will explore that wider.
Some of them, you might already know.
Oh yeah. And you'll find that some of what we're describing, some of it will tie into our topic anyway.
That's right.
So you'll see what we mean further on. So definition for starters, definition of manipulation. And we've got some definitions on the clips too. But first of all, it says controlling someone or something to your own advantage, often unfairly or dishonestly, and it's often to the detriment of the other person.
Of the victim.
The detriment of the victim.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll show you the first subject. Sorry, which was.
Is it the first clip? You mean?
The first clip. What's the first subject we're talking about?
Gaslighting.
Gaslighting. So the first subject is about gaslighting, and we're going to show you a clip That's going to basically broaden out what that meaning means.
Gaslighting. Gaslighting takes place when someone seeks to make another person doubt their own perception of reality, their own memory, and their sanity. The term originates from a 1938 play called Gaslight, in which a husband manipulates his wife into believing she is going insane by dimming the gaslights in their home and then denying that the lights are flickering when she points it out. Gaslighting undermines the victim's confidence in their own judgment by deploying confusing lies, withholding information, and shifting the blame onto another person while at the same time denying their side of the story and claiming that what the other person is saying is a lie.
Okay.
Right.
Yes, so that's gaslighting.
It is.
And it's interesting, isn't it? I've got something here as well, because gaslighting can be in relationships.
Can be in quite a lot in relationships, families,
Yep,
media.
that's right. Children.
Um,
And, sometimes we don't look at things under the heading of manipulation. We just think, well, politics, you got your spin doctors, don't we? And, we know like the justice system, you've got the prosecutor and the defense. And, they have to gather as much information as possible and they all want to win.
That's right.
Whether the person is guilty or not guilty, they want to win. But when you look at it through the lenses of that horrible word, manipulation.
Well, I think is when you sort of start to uncover the pieces, really, like you said, because you don't ever look at it that way in our sort of our justice system.
Right. That's right.
You never really look at it really closely, but we had a really close look at it and it was sort of disturbing in a way.
It was disturbing. We had to you had to pick my jaw up off the ground and I had to pick yours off the ground as well, because it was just like mind-boggling,
Well, because you probably think, where are the true morals? That's what I thought to myself. Where are the true morals?
And where is the truth? Where does the truth walk in and the lie disappear? Or where does the truth stand and then the lie comes in and knocks it off the pedestal? It's really strange. Manipulation, gaslighting. It's a big, big thing. I've got something here that says, because like we talked about gaslighting in its various forms, and you can have gaslighting in marriage.
Yes.
And it says gaslighting in marriage is a form of emotional and psychological abuse where one partner manipulates the other into doubting their own thoughts, perceptions, memory, or sanity. It's a tactic often used to gain power or control, and over time it can significantly erode the victim's self-esteem and sense of reality.
Well, I don't think it's only in marriage. It's in any relationship, I think.
It is, yeah, it is.
They might have said marriage, but in any relationship, it's about, like you said, control and power.
Yeah.
People manipulate in that way.
Oh, yeah.
Gaslighting,
Yeah, because this was just an example. Gaslighting in marriage, just like how we mentioned marriage, we mentioned children, bringing up children, all those things. So this was just going into marriage specifically and just talking about that. And it also goes into saying what gaslighting might look like. I was thinking, like, also in the job I used to do in social care, when you could use gaslighting, or you could see gaslighting in families. For instance, an elderly person living at home, and the family want that parent out of the home, so that they can gain power over the property. And they could use gaslighting to say, oh, my mother she's not coping at home. And, we keep telling her she's not coping, and sometimes when you take the citizen off on their own and you talk to them, they know what they're doing. They're able to manage. But yet there's a conflict that the family is saying something totally different and telling the poor woman that she's not coping. You know what I mean? And you can't manage on your own. You're not going to be safe. That's like gaslighting as well, for control. of that person's assets, and that's not good. So that happens too.
Have you ever been gaslighted?
Have I ever been gaslighted? I think everybody's been gaslighted. I think, but I have, yeah. I've been gaslighted. Have you?
Well, I'm trying to think of, yes, I probably have in relationship, where you've been told something and you've gone back and you said to the person, well, you know, you said so and so, so and so. And then the person was, I never said anything like that. I haven't mentioned that.
Mm.
Yeah, so yeah, I've had that done to me in relationship.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's a very horrible situation because you lose your, as it said here, you lose your sense of self,
Well, you do.
and your confidence. You start to second guess yourself.
Well,
you said that, especially if you're having an argument and the person says you said something and you know you didn't say it, and they're gaslighting you, and you start to question yourself. Maybe I did say it.
Well, yeah, you start to doubt yourself, and wondering whether you're going a little bit crazy or whether you've heard it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not a nice feeling, especially if it happens quite a lot.
Yeah. Because I dare say,
Yeah.
I suppose in a marriage it would happen a lot. In a workplace it could happen a lot. Depends, like if it's a manager and employee.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But in some situations it could be a one-off, couldn't it? Manipulation, when someone tries to get control. Do you understand me? So it all varies in a sense. But I suppose, like you says, in some places, in some relationships, it's quite intense.
Yes,
like in a marriage, it would be intense because it would be quite often if that partner is always trying to gain control and have the upper hand. And that person, that poor victim, would lose all sense of self, have no sense
and confidence as well.
And confidence, they'd be just lost.
Yeah.
You know.
But do you think they do that because they want the victim to be dependent on them in a way? Because they must do it for a reason.
Oh, there's got to be. There's more than one reason. But yeah.
Well, we know it's to get control.
Yeah.
But it's control about the person becoming codependent on that person, where they feel they're incapable of doing anything.
Yeah.
And it's like submitting to them all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's a power thing, isn't it? It's gaining the power over someone else. And like it says, while the what do you call the person? The abuser grows larger, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
The victim will whittle away. The victim whittles away, and they lose who they are, and they become an extension of that person to a degree, or they have no existence at all. And that's
quite a serious thing,
scary.
Isn't it? So
very scary.
Yeah.
So manipulation is no joking matter. But a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, some people who are being manipulated don't even know they're being manipulated. You know, and that's interesting when you think about that, is that, you know, how can you detect that you are under that kind of regime, if you want to call it that? So yes, so shall we go to our little clip?
I did have something before we go to our little clip,
please.
sister.
Go on, sis.
I was trying to just look through my notes very quickly. Yeah. And what did I find here? That people who, it says here, manipulation, individuals more likely to be targeted. That's what I found out is individual facing challenging situation. Example, if they're feeling vulnerable, those looking for support, those exhibiting co-independence, where they feel, you know, they need to rely on other people, or young people experiencing of life, who are not sort of had any experience in life and they're just developing their life skills. You know, they might be manipulated by their peer or someone which is older. They're more susceptible. And also older senior people. You know, sometimes they also are easily manipulated because they're facing loneliness, and so therefore they're very easy to manipulate.
And it's interesting. I have to keep referring back to my job as being in social care, and there's this what would you call it? There's a name or a term called cuckooing. I don't know if anybody's heard of that word. Have you heard of cuckooing?
I've never heard of cuckooing. What does it mean?
And what it is, it's when an elderly person, say, lives in their home by themselves.
Yes.
They're quite lonely, isolated, right? And then an outside negative element, like a young woman. Say it's an elderly man on his own, lonely. A young woman who's probably into drugs and into stealing and's got a bad group of people with her, worms her way into his home, but he thinks she's his friend. And what she'll do, she'll spend all of his money, burn his electricity, eat out his food. She'll even bring in her cohorts, and they'll probably have a little drug den there in his home. And he still thinks that person is his friend because they've manipulated him. You know what I mean? So it's just a wonderful job, social care. You see so many things, and it's very hard work. Yeah. So that's gaslighting and that's manipulation.
Yes.
So we can shall we show a clip? Oh, let me just have a look. I don't want to jump the gun because I always get told off when I jump the gun, you know. You can't see it out there, but I get kicks in my shins and in my ankles when I go over to the wrong side or say the wrong thing. Oh, see what I mean?
What are you doing? You're blaming me now for your...
Oops, I'm playing the victim.
You're playing the
Anyway. Oh dear, right, so let's have a look. So what gaslighting might look like in a marriage, this is just quickly.
Yes.
Here are some common examples. Denial of facts or events. That never happened. You're imagining things. The gaslighter denies something that clearly happened, making their partner question their memory. It's about twisting information like, you're too sensitive or you're overreacting. Yeah, the gaslighter reframes events to make their partner appear irrational or unreasonable. It's about blaming the victim. The gaslighter shifts blame for their actions, making the victim feel at fault. If you weren't so paranoid, I wouldn't have to lie. You know?
Oh, yes.
You know?
Yes.
Or if you told me where you were going, I wouldn't have to spy on you.
Yes.
Or check your phone.
Yeah, it's terrible.
You know? Or if you,
It's a bit like shifted the blame as well in some aspect,
it is a bit like that, isn't
They're very
it?
come across
very similar, aren't they? Very
yes.
close. And undermining self-trust. The gaslighter plants doubt in the victim's mind about their own judgment. You can't even make simple decisions without getting confused. Wow.
Guys, I don't know if any of you out there, you know, listening to all these things that Mo is saying, whether you've experienced anything like that. And sometimes, you know, we carry on in our life and we don't really think these things are happening to us. So we take stock and probably reflect. And then we realize, my God, you know, either it's happening to me or it has happened to me. Because sometimes we don't, you know.
Yeah. And then the other part is isolating the partner, discouraging or sabotaging relationships with friends and family to increase dependency.
Well, that's what I was saying
and that's
before.
What you were saying.
Yes.
You know, I remember watching this, it was on a training, and it was interesting because I've never seen it done before, but it was like everyone who were on the course, you could see a screen, and they was describing a woman. This woman was describing her relationship with her partner and how loving he was and how he took her places and he made sure she was safe. He contacted her and he did all those things, and she loved it because he thought, this man he's great. He cares for me. He watches over me. He protects me. But bit by bit, what seemed beautiful at first started to turn around, but she never even realized it. He started to segregate her from her family, her friends. The job she was doing, he moved her away and said, you know, they're not giving you your worth. You're worth more than that. He brought her into the country, got her a job where he was working so he could keep an eye on her. And as he started to do that, and he even removed her from where she was living with all her family, isolated her so that he could abuse her. Do you know what I mean? But at the time, she didn't see none of those things because she saw them as this wonderful person who was protective and cared, but he was manipulating her all along.
It reminded me of a film that I watched recently, and it's about this woman. You've probably seen it as well.
You know, I love my films.
And she was, I think she hadn't had a relationship for years and years. I think she might have had an abusive one before. And she had a good friend, which was a next door neighbour. But to cut a long story short, her next door neighbour introduced her to this person, which was her son. Do you remember watching that film?
Yes.
Right. And what did he do?
Yes.
There was a lot of manipulation going on in there, wasn't there? Because you find that he did gaslighting where she probably felt she was going crazy.
Right. He did.
Told her things, told her he was this...
There's an artist. He was an artist and did art. He had work in the gallery.
That's right.
She even went to the gallery and everything.
Everything. And none of that was true. So that was a good film.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was called.
I can't remember
what it's Grace, or it was called something. Was it Mercy and Grace, or
I can't remember.
It was something like that. It was something like Mercy and Grace,
but
I can't remember.
Really interesting. It's a bit like that was really, really bad, wasn't it?
Great film.
A lot of manipulation of various different sort went on in that.
That's right. I think all of those. All of
those that we named. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So we're going to show a video, a little bit of a comedy video about gaslighting for you to look at. See if you know what film it is.
Sorry.
Damn, I feel like Willy Wonka. Chocolate up in this room. Hey, how you doing, man? What's good with you, brother? How's it going, man? How you doing? I'm Buster Move Perkin. How you doing? Man, your wife was just talking about you, man. She love you.
You're Rasputin's tap dance teacher.
Man, actually, I'm her power tap guru. I was just here giving her a little tap lesson.
But you're naked.
Oh, that's just so she can see the various muscle groups as I go through the various routines. You see that there? You can't see that with a turtleneck.
So,
one of my favorite comedy. And my children, we find that so amusing.
Yes, it's called Norbit with Eddie Murphy. And obviously we know Eddie Murphy is a master of so many faces, isn't he? You know, and Rasputia. So he finds her in bed with her dance instructor. And as you can see, they're trying to tell him that he's not seeing what he's seeing.
Exactly.
You know?
Even though he saw what he was seeing. They try to think,
try to mess with his head. Yeah. You know, sometimes we laugh at these things because it looks like it's, you know, that's never going to happen in reality. But I tell you something, those things do happen in reality. They do. And some of you out there, you can probably put your hands up and say, yep, it happened to me, or it happened to my friend or my relative. It happens. It really does happen.
It really, really does happen, doesn't it? Where
It
people
does.
can make out that what you've seen isn't true.
Yeah.
Leaves you questioning yourself to think, well, did I do that, or I didn't do that?
Yeah.
You know, that does happen, doesn't it?
Of course it happens. Or you've heard something and the person says, you didn't hear right.
Yeah.
You know, how you said you heard that. How could you have heard that? You were half asleep, or you were, you know. So it can happen.
Did something happen to you at school when you were younger? I don't know if this comes underneath that.
Yeah.
I think you were it might have been junior school or infants, with that girl with that money.
Oh, right.
And they were saying you took it.
They said I took the money.
And then in the end, you start to think, well, did I take it? Do you remember? And you thought, well, I didn't take that money out of her coat pocket. Do you remember that?
I remember that.
And you're coming on thinking, I'm sure I didn't do it. But because they told you that you did it and she said she saw you doing it, can you remember that?
I do remember that
Yes.
distinctly. I even remember the two people's name because, I remember the story, trust me, because I remember, I'm always trying to do the right thing, right? Somebody's coat dropped on the floor, right? I picked it up and put it back on the chair, right? And then this girl, I won't mention the name, but I'll say TB, said that, told the teacher that I stole her 2 pence.
And then you started,
right?
Oh, did I didn't do it.
I knew I didn't do it, but then they're telling me that I did.
Yes.
You know, and then they had a witness.
Yes.
And what was his name again? NB. So I remember, and I must have been about 8.
Yeah, you might have
But I
been
remember because that's how it traumatized me. Teachers. But anyway, so he validated this person and said that, he saw me pick up the coat and I took the money. So the teacher took my two penny pieces I think I had. The teacher took it from me and gave it to that young girl. And I think I moaned about it and whatever. But after a while, when they checked properly, they realised that TB was lying, right? Because she said I took her 2 pence piece and what I had on me was 2 pennies. That was my only saving grace.
Yeah, because
You
you
know what I
started to
mean?
think, did I really do it?
So
And the
it's
other
interesting.
incidents that you told me at work, I'm trying to think if I can remember anything personally myself, but at this moment I can't. But I can remember you telling me with, this man at work when he was accused of this woman said he did something to her.
My word, yeah.
Sort of, is it on a sexual? I'm not going to mention the names.
No. There was something that, there was an accusation.
Yeah. And this poor man, and then she got somebody else to say, yeah, she was there, he did this. And he started to think, well, I never did that. And in the end, he said he got so confused, he started to think, well, this is only what I did.
He starts second guessing himself. Could I have done this, Barbara? It's a horrible situation to be in.
It's an awful situation when people do that to you, isn't it?
horrible,
Where
yeah.
you can't make up your mind now whether you're guilty or you're not guilty. It is horrible.
It's a funny world. I remember, telling you the situation, you're probably going to laugh. And maybe I shouldn't say, I don't even know, because some people out there may think, that's so terrible. It should have been done. I remember a boss man said to a lady, a woman, one of the employees, he tapped her on her shoulder and says, come on, let's do supervision. She had him down for sexual harassment. Right? He just tapped her probably on her arm like that, supervision. And she had him for sexual harassment. And I thought, well, I know that's probably like gaslighting, is probably just downright lying, isn't it, really? But anyway, what was that about? The controlling bit, I don't know.
Sometimes we get a little bit carried away with ourselves.
We do. But still, if I tied it in with what, what's his name, Andrew Tate said, is sometimes women, but he said all women, but it's not all women. Some women use the emotional stuff to manipulate.
Yes.
And in a situation like that, I get it. I get it. Some women can use that, but it's not just women who use
no
tears to manipulate.
Yes.
Is it? It's not just some women use tears. Men use it too.
There was something else that I found. Just let me see if I can find it. Where it was, I was looking at whether manipulation, women versus men in manipulation, and who would manipulate more. Just bear with me.
Okay. Do you want to carry on talking while you
yes, you
find
can.
it?
Yes.
Because another thing is, like, for instance, you might think, well, when have men used tears to manipulate.
Yes.
Well, you can have a situation where a man abuses his partner and then he will cry to say he's sorry. You understand me? That's part of manipulation, to get her to forget it, to stay so that he can abuse her some more. So, so men can use tears or emotions to manipulate as well.
Yeah, I found it. It was some research, and I found it on the internet because I wanted to know whether men manipulate women, whether they.
Who does it more?
That's right. Who does it more? And I thought to myself, could it be men or could it be women? I wasn't quite sure.
That's an interesting question,
It is.
I'd love to know the answer to that.
Could it be men or could it? And what it said, emotional manipulation, men are more likely than women to engage in emotional manipulation. And I think that's one to
tease out.
Because remember,
why.
Andrew Tate was saying women do it more, but on here, but this is only from one research study that I've looked at. So, and it says men are more likely than women to engage in emotional manipulation.
So is that because women are more emotional, as some people say, and men are more logic? So emotional manipulation would be easier done to women by men.
Well, I think it's
just
probably
a question. I'm just throwing it out there, folks. So if you've got an idea on that, let us know.
Well, I think I found out something. It said that because they may have low self-esteem or they struggle with self-worth themselves. So that's something that's,
that's interesting.
It's important to look at, isn't it?
It is important to look at. It also it makes me think that, like what you says, it's people who have low self-esteem and so on tend to be victims to being manipulated. But I know police officers, women, right, who you would say they're strong, they're determined, they can move and shake, they command authority, and yet they've been manipulated. And you'd say to yourself, but they were strong. They didn't seem to have any vulnerabilities per se, or low self-esteem or anything like that.
But you got to remember, because somebody on the exterior looked like that.
True as well.
That doesn't mean internally
they're together.
They're together.
All together.
They could be going through this, just a persona that they put on sometimes. Couldn't it?
That's true. And I suppose we all have those kind of masks, don't we, that we wear to cover up our insecurities.
So that might be some of the reason, not all of the reason.
Yeah.
It's just said low self-esteem, struggle with self-worth. There could be other things, and it might not necessarily be that. It could just be that some people, it's about control. Yeah. Because not only men are into control, women do it as well.
Yeah, women are into control as well.
Controlling men. So
so with the gaslighting, and like the film that we saw, the black and white film, not Norbert's one. There's a black and white film where the term gaslighting comes from. The woman, she could have been a strong woman in the beginning.
Has anybody seen? Sorry, Mo, I don't want to.
Go on.
Has anyone out there, viewers, seen the film that Maureen's talking about? It's a black and white film, and that's where gaslighting first originated from.
That's the term,
yeah. Because of what the man was doing to the woman, just like what we were saying, manipulating her, making her think that she's crazy. Yeah, that's where it came from. So carry on, sis.
I forgot my thread now.
You're talking about gaslighting still, weren't you?
I was, but I've lost it now. So
sorry about that, viewers,
I'll sort her out afterwards, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
It does happen, doesn't it?
Okay, so we've looked at gaslighting. There's we've got a friend who, someone we spoke to about some of her experiences about manipulation, and it would be good to hear what she had to say, because there's always learning from other people's experiences as well.
So when I was asked to talk about this topic, I just thought, let me find officially what a definition of manipulation is. So I looked this up on the internet, and this I thought was a fairly good description, if not brief. So it is identified as the act of influencing or controlling behaviour, thoughts or emotions through dishonest, unfair or unethical means for one's own benefit. And this comes under, all these areas comes under different, and an umbrella of manipulation that I'm going to mention now. But they all have they all are a way of manipulating other people. So for instance, guilt tripping. Making someone feel guilty for, through words or actions to get them to do something that perhaps they were reluctant to do. Gaslighting, that's a word we use a lot nowadays. But that basically is twisting the truth. And again, the person who does that is looking for something that fulfills a need that or want that they want. Lying, providing false information. Coercion, use of threats of a way of persuading someone to do something that, again, they don't really want to do. And of course, there's passive aggression, incorrect behaviour to try and influence how you make a decision. And it's usually something that's soft and gentle, but it's done in a way to help you to change what you truly believe. Now, this is just a small section of what manipulation is. And there is more, but many traits show that someone is trying to use some kind of tactic to fulfill something they want to achieve. And it's always against the person who would be classified, let's say, the innocent party, who doesn't really have that same need or want that this person is trying to thrust upon them. It's quite a big topic, and it's encased in a buzzword that we use nowadays, narcissism and control. And it seems to be on the rise. And I remember experiencing this kind of behaviour from people around me because I was quite naive. I grew up in a family where we were generally quite nice to each other, right? And we'll generally tell the truth, even if it was something that wasn't very nice. And that was how I was brought up. But then when I didn't leave home, but I started to work, I started to get more involved in society outside and my home environment. And I found these parts of society that I wasn't used to. And I suppose I was quite naive. And during my lifetime, I mean, I'm 62 now, I experienced bullying at work, bullying in religious organisations, bullying from family members. And all these areas have, it was done as an act of manipulating, of controlling by the perpetrator in order to achieve something that makes them feel valuable about themselves or something that they need. Like all deceit, it can be difficult to recognise, but there can be an indication that maybe there's you may be a victim of manipulation. And I remember for me, and I'll talk through, not scientifically proven, but let's say call myself an expert by experience, because I was manipulated, bullied, and lied to quite a bit. And I, with my naivety, believed it. But then I began to feel something wasn't quite right. And I felt a disease about situations that I was in. And I began to sense that something wasn't quite right. And I had that feeling for a long time, but I hadn't really investigated it. And I thought, I wish I'd done it sooner because it caused me a lot of hurt and problems because of other people wanting things from me, and it makes them feel better about lying, trying to guilt trip me, or so on. And I was so naive and so accepting of people that I didn't really look out for it. But through a lot of trial and error, I learned to try and look into this feeling of dis-ease around certain people who made me feel a bit strange. So I had to ask myself some questions. Why is being with this person making me feel uneasy? Right. Why is why is it when I'm with someone else, I don't have that same feeling? And I had to identify all those people who were causing that feeling of dis-ease in me, knowing that something wasn't quite right. So if you have the feeling that, hey, this doesn't seem right, there's something not quite right about this, don't leave it and think, oh, it must be me why I feel this way. Everybody else is getting on with them, like I did, and ended up being very broken and hurt. Act on those feelings, because it's an instigator to examine what is right and true in your life and who is right and true in your life. This is only one step. Like I said, it's a big topic in not being party to manipulative tactics that are very prevalent in our society.
But it's so men are also the victims of manipulation too, and children and so on.
Like I said, everyone is actually.
Yeah. But as the lady was saying, Alberta, is that her experiences of manipulation was that she'd come from a family where they were quite open and transparent, and they said it as it was, but yet she was caught up into a situation where that was no longer the norm, whether it was in a workplace or, other relationships where she'd experienced that kind of treatment, and it had a very negative impact on her. So we've got to be mindful of these things because it's not easy either. It's not always obvious when you're being manipulated, especially if it's over a period of time. It's not always obvious, is it?
Well, it isn't, and it does chip away at your confidence, completely, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And your worth.
Yeah.
And you start to not knowing who you are as a person.
Yeah.
So I think that can happen.
Yeah. So have you got anything else on your magic papers? Because
I think we had, was it Playing Victim? Have we done that one? We haven't done Playing Victim.
Well, not yet, because we had something here to talk about, didn't we? Because when we mentioned earlier about our jaws dropping, and I must say this clearly because sometimes you might not be able to hear my accent. We used to be in the choir, and this is just a bit of a joke, and the choir master always used to say to us, all right, ladies, drop your drawers, but he would say, drop your jaws.
She's always like that, guys.
So drop your jaws.
Comedian of the family.
So our jaws dropped when we looked at this manipulation in terms of politics and the justice system and religion, and how people can use gaslighting and the whole array of manipulation to hoodwink people, to control people, to control the narrative.
Yeah,
you know?
it's a very, very big subject. It's very, very big, and it's very, very wide,
And it's nasty.
and it is very, very nasty.
It's nasty.
So we might be being what would you call it?
Manipulated and
not
gaslighted.
know.
Yeah.
So it's knowing how to be aware of these things.
It is knowing how to be aware. And look at the situation now with AI. Now, AI is brilliant.
Oh, yes.
But if it's not managed and safeguarded properly,
That's right.
all this, I mean, what did I do the other day? Someone sent me, oh, you would have probably have seen this. It's a clip of Sir Paul McCartney and Phil Collins, right? And, you know, Phil Collins has gone off. I haven't seen anything of Phil Collins for a long time, but they're saying he's ill and that. But this picture was of an emaciated Phil Collins with Paul McCartney kind of like embracing him, and Phil Collins doing this kind of motion with his hand. And it talks about it talks about Paul McCartney singing to him and stuff like that. And it's all AI. Nothing is real about it. You know, so that's a form of manipulation. We're being manipulated to believe something is, and it isn't. But what do they aim to gain from something like that?
Your vulnerability.
Sorry?
Your vulnerability.
Your vulnerability is probably my brain cells, you know. What is it? What do they gain? And that's what I don't understand. The lies that come out, the game playing, the gaslighting. What do they aim to gain?
There's loads of platform and social media where people do that.
Yeah.
And yeah, you do think to yourself sometime, what is it that they want to gain from doing this? And it'll be something to think about, isn't it?
It will be, because, all right, I can understand, well, not understand, because that sounds like you're condoning it. Maybe you can see the thread of where it's going, like in terms of religion then, when people are gaslighting ministers, gaslighting the women, right, to get to I won't take it where I was thinking to take it, but to abuse women, for instance, right? You have preachers who are gaslighting women, telling them something, you know, and they believe in it. You're thinking, come on, you believe that? Gaslighting the whole congregation. Go and eat grass, and the whole congregation's doing that.
This was a church that was quite a few years ago, wasn't it? Yeah, there are some strange things going on.
There are.
When people leave themselves to, you know, be vulnerable because they want to believe as well, I think.
Yeah, but isn't it? Because I think with Alberta, what she said is, you have to be, when we have alarm clocks in us, don't we? We have alarm clocks or warning signals, a bit like, I just sort of, is it Lost in Space? When that robot used to say, warning, warning, warning. We have these little kind of warning bells in us that tell us something ain't right. Something ain't right. And what do we do with that? Do we nullify it, rub it out, numb it, dummy it down? Because some people do. And then you're going to get hurt. But we have warning bells, and you need to listen, tap into those things. If something feels uncomfortable, don't do it. Check out your facts. Link in with other people and ask, does this seem right?
Do you know something? I don't think it always works like that. Because it's not everybody's going to get warning bells. I think it depends on a person.
Upbringing or
no
culture.
Characteristics, not their culture. Because, like I said, some people, if they're vulnerable or they're co-independent, they don't really see those.
Codependent.
Codependent. They don't see those. They don't see no ringing bells, do they?
Do you see ringing bells? People, if you've been under the cosh like this,
Well,
do you?
Some people probably sees it, where they can, and the only way you're going to be able to see that is sitting back and sort of reflecting. A bit like your friend was saying, she was brought up in a certain type of environment where she never encountered anything like that. They were quite open. So obviously she went out in society thinking society is going to be all like that, where she had a great waking up call that it isn't like that, and probably being able to sit back and to look at certain things, you know, it made her felt uncomfortable. So for her, she probably looked at that uncomfortability that she felt and started to realise, well, this isn't how it's supposed to be. And then she probably had that reasoning. I realised, no, something... So
you're saying in hindsight,
in
or
hindsight,
after the fact,
after
is when
that's right.
Sometimes she felt that uncomfortable, or maybe she understood the uncomfortableness in hindsight. Because sometimes we feel things, but we don't know
why.
Because
did she not say she didn't know why? Or did she say that?
I can't remember now.
Right. But sometimes we're sitting in that situation, and if it happened regularly, then you start to wake up. But some people, they never wake up. Some people don't wake up to the fact that this is happening to them. So it's not everybody going to be alert and, you know.
I think sometimes if we do feel something, or we do have a query, we should share and ask questions, really, because sometimes two minds are better than one. And people can highlight something isn't right. Oh, that don't make sense to me.
That's right.
And at least you got a bit of a steer. You know, but sometimes, well, look at the world we're in now. People don't communicate very much. They're all on and playing games and dealing with AIs. So
you
it's
see, like you were saying, like in that film with gaslighting, that woman was vulnerable. So she believed him, didn't she?
She did believe him.
This is what I'm saying. So this is what happens.
Yeah. So that's gaslighting.
And it could go on and on and on, because there's so much more.
There is so much more.
So much more.
Because we still didn't talk about the justice. Well, we did mention the justice system.
We sort of mentioned the justice system because and politics, because that's big and vast and wide to talk about, because you'd have to do so much research as well into that. Because the little bit that we glimpsed at, we were quite blown. Because sometimes you don't see it. You know it's there, but you don't see it, do you?
Yeah. Because of what I read was politicians are known to use gaslighting, manipulative tactics involving denial of others' facts, blaming others, and diverting attention to undermine a person's sense of reality and confidence in their judgment. You know, that's used in politics, that's used in media, that's used in the justice system.
Well, you see it used in politics a lot when they want your votes. And various other things, really.
And I suppose it's about what truths are we being told to make our own decisions, rather than having someone tell us a narrative so that we make the decision they want us to make.
Yeah, because it seemed true. Because it seemed true at the time. That's the problem.
Well, I read something. No, I watched something on TV. It was talking about, you know, all the pollution that's happening, and you know, and how the message coming out to us is that it's us who's doing the big dumping. All our plastic bottles and this and that. But you know what? It isn't, apparently, because when I can't remember the figures now, but when they explain the percentage of what we do in terms of litter, or you know, messing with the not ozone. My words are escaping me now, but we only do a small percentage. But yet the way it's been loaded on us, it's that we contribute to a lot. So when we're saying gather all your stuff together and separate your recyclable things to your blah blah blah, and you're panicking, oh gosh, I gotta do this. It's no big deal, we're just a drop in the ocean. You know, they said that the what is it? It's the people who do the fishing, the fisheries. They do a lot of damage to the oceans. They do the most damage. You know, so but we're being gaslighted in a sense to feel that, or is it shifting the blame? Or I don't even know. It's manipulated.
It's manipulated. It's manipulating, but it's shifting the blame.
Yeah, you know, to say it's us and it's
shifting the
not.
blame.
And then we feel bad.
Yeah, that's shifting the blame.
You know, everybody's to blame. I was going to say, own your doo-doo. Own your doo-doo, man. Own your doo-doo. Come on, it's time. Sorry, sis, she doesn't like when I say that. Oh, sorry.
Trying to kill me.
Oh dear. Okay, so anyway, we had 3 subjects to get through, didn't we? But we've really sat in this gaslighting quite heavily because, you know, there's so much to just pick out of it. And I can't remember if we showed. No, I don't think we're gonna. I think we're gonna leave it there, you know, because I think we've really covered gaslighting as much as we want to, and we wouldn't give it justice if we started on the other two, you know, the blame shifting and the playing victim that we wanted to do. So we're going to leave it at that, I think. Do you think that's fair, sis?
Oh, you mean for today? Okay.
For today, yeah.
All right, then.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I can't think of any other examples of gaslighting, and I hope you liked the video that we showed with Norbit. And if you haven't seen it, it's worth watching. You'll have so much laughs.
And do your own research, guys, and on manipulation, because there's lots of things out there that can actually help you if you want to dig a lot deeper, because we're only hitting the surface. And it can help you if you're going through a situation where you feel that you are being manipulated, or not only that, it probably can help you to help someone else. Okay,
I think that would be wise. So I hope you've enjoyed the session today. I hope we haven't offended anyone, because sometimes we can talk about things. We're not saying we're the experts.
No.
So, you know, we're just researching and we're just feeding back to you and hoping you can come back to us and do your research too and have a discourse.
Yeah, because we're learning as we go on. And this is just like a discussion, and we want you to be part of that discussion with us as well. We're family.
Yeah. So tune in again next time, and we aim to get through 2 more subjects, blame shifting and playing victim. So it will be great to see you, have you on board with us.
Right, okay. And have some questions if you have any.
Yeah. So, oh yes, I will have to say, so like, subscribe, and share. Please share. We want people to get a vibe of this, you know, and start to ask questions and start thinking. We have to start thinking. Don't let anyone else think for us. We have to think, research.
Yes.
So take care. Bye from me.
And bye from me.
Bye from Y-ZUP.